You're listening to the official Temple University's Football Coaches Show, brought to you by Peerless Boilers on Philadelphia's #1 college radio station, WHIP.
All right, that's us, Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP. Zach Gelb and Chase Sr. here with you, taking up until noon Eastern time, where the Temple Sports Hour will come your way. It's time for homecoming this weekend, Saturday at Lincoln Financial Field. Kickoff is scheduled for 12 o'clock as Temple takes on Tulsa. Now joining us on the program is a good friend of the show, and that's the offensive coordinator for your Temple Owls, and that's Marcus Satterfield. Coach, Zach and Chase here in Philly, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for coming on, and we always appreciate talking some football with you. So your team had their second bye week. They're sitting at 3-1. They looked real good, but the offense has got off to a few slow starts in this short season. How much of an emphasis was it in the bye week to get this group going at the start of the game?
It's a huge emphasis. It's still just kind of like last year when we would start a little bit faster once we got going with PJ the last half of the year, and then we'd come out at halftime and not be able to do anything. Kind of the roles have been reversed. It's been a weird start, kind of, from the standpoint of our defense is like we love the issue, but they score, it seems like, every other time they're on the field. So the last two games, it's been about 6 minutes to go in the first quarter before our guys even get out there, and we usually have a lead. So we're in a scoring race with our defense to try to outscore them. I think they're close to outscoring us, or we're tied at this point.
PJ is only a sophomore, and he has a lot of room to grow here at Temple University, and they're going up against a Tulsa team that gets off to slow starts as well. Their offense has been outscored 59-0 in the first quarter of football games. But this year, PJ, he lost some targets from a year ago in Robbie Anderson and Ryan Alderman. You also rotate in some new offensive linemen. How much do those changes affect a quarterback at the start of the season, and what do you want to challenge your QB to do from here on out?
I think it affects him a little bit, but I don't think that's been the issue with not being able to be as explosive or as productive as we want to be. I think it's just a matter of getting into the season, getting to a rhythm of the game, sustaining some drives. We've had a couple drops, had a couple bad throws. I think it's just a matter of let's just get going and get to playing. And I think as the year goes on, he'll get better. He's officially, when we were talking to him yesterday, he's officially a sophomore now. He's played 11 games, so now he gets to be a sophomore, so we expect him to go out there and get going. He's had a great 2 weeks in the open week, and I think he's ready to go. I think, as frustrating as it seems, you want him to go out there and just everything be perfect. He was getting as frustrated. I think when he gets frustrated, he's not going to be, as good. He's not going to be P.J. Walker that we know. He just needs to relax and let all the things come to him.
The offensive coordinator for your Temple Owls, Marcus Satterfield, joins us right now on the Temple University Football Coaches Show here on WHIP Radio. Coach, it's Chase. Jalen Fitzpatrick has had a wonderful season so far, and he's really made a big stride from last year to this year, having the best year of his Temple career. He has 4 touchdowns in as many games. What has he been able to do that has set himself apart from the rest of the wide receivers, because he is the clear-cut #1 target right now?
I think he changed his mindset from last year to this year. We challenged him to be a tougher receiver. We challenged him to be more complete receiver as far as catching the ball, running with the ball after the catch, being very aggressive on the perimeter. He's answered all those challenges, and he just keeps working and working and working. And all the stuff he does behind the scenes before he even gets out there to catch a touchdown pass has been very impressive since the summer and into fall camp. He is definitely our playmaker and a guy that we feel comfortable trying to find in certain situations. And he's done nothing but validate all the things that we think he can do thus far. So we're excited to see how much further he can go, because he can get better, which is good.
Normally for offensive linemen, it's easier to run block rather than pass block, but this offensive line unit has had more success in the pass blocking game rather than in the running game. Why hasn't that run game got going as well as you would have hoped?
I really don't know. I think it's a combination probably of some different combinations up front. A lot of what we do in the run game is got a couple different options off of it. I think that the backs have got to just they got to think they're getting the ball every time and run with that mindset and aggression. And then when we get our blocks and get our combinations together, we got to finish the block. I think that there's intervals right now that are kind of guys an inch off his landmark. PJ makes her own decision on whether to hand it or throw it. All those things have kind of come into play, and we've really focused on that the last month for sure, and had a couple open weeks where I think our guys, we challenged them from a standpoint of physicality, aggression, finishing runs as far as blockers and runners that we get out here against Tulsa. I think that they're eager to show that we can run the football and get a lot better at doing that.
It's been running back by committee so far this year as we're talking to offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield. And I know Kenny is really the guy who's getting the bulk of the carries, but has any of the other running backs really set themselves apart during this 2-week span of going into the bye week and now into this game on Saturday?
I mean, we challenge them again, like you just said. We don't want to have running back by committee. We want to have one or two guys that run the football and get in the flow of the game and have a chance to get in the flow of the game. And we put the challenge down this week and see who can finish it. And when we get going within the game, the realm of the game, we're going to let them go. And I don't know which two it's going to be at this point. Jamie Gilmore had an unbelievable day of practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's not that he's let up. John Thomas has had some great runs. David Hood is a guy that we're excited to try to get going and get him more than one or two carries just sporadically through a game. So we're excited about all of them, but we don't want to have running back by committee anymore. We want somebody to step out, take it, and go. And we're looking for one of those guys to do that. And then Kenny's always got his different roles, his short yardage roles, his pass protection roles. He catches the ball unbelievable out of the backfield. He's a big play when people don't realize it's just catching the ball on a swing route and getting 8 to 12 yards. So he's got a role all the time. But we want one of those other three, explosive little guys to come out really and take the reins and see what they can do.
Marcus Satterfield is our guest on the Temple University Football Coaches Show, powered by Peerless Boilers. Peerless builds America's best boilers. Zach Gelb and Chase Sr. here with you. Colin Thompson got some burn in the last game up against UConn, now has a bye week, and now he should be ready to go for Saturday. Matt Rule talked a little bit about that in his weekly press conference at Edinburgh Olsen Hall on Tuesday. How big of a factor could he be for you guys in the red zone especially?
I think that, just in the passing game in general, I think that, Musso has been really, really good at what we've asked him to do. We don't ask him to do a lot of things as far as stretching the perimeter. I think Colin Thompson's a guy that can go in there and stretch the perimeter and be physical, and is a very good compliment to Moose and Sal Major. He keeps getting more reps in practice. We're trying to be careful. We don't want to get excited about, Colin and overdo him during practice and re-injure his foot. But he keeps, sustaining, getting more endurance, and we're pushing him a little bit further each day. But you're right. He can stretch the field, makes unbelievable plays. He caught a ball the other day. He jumped up over a DB, or he torqued his body, landed, took off running. It was impressive. So we're anxious to get him going. Like you said, in the red zone, that gives us another threat, as well as PJ running, Vermont catching plays, Jalen catching carry, and those little backs. So should help us a lot.
This Tulsa team, they've allowed a lot of 30-plus yard plays in football games so far through this young college football season. Could we see possibly some more big plays this week, get Khalif Urban into the offense a little bit more?
I hope so. I will take it. That's we would take a 30-yard play every time if we could get it. Most plays are designed to get 30 yards or a touchdown. It's just a matter of, are we going to execute it? Are we going to block it? Are we going to finish the play? But that's been something we've talked about, since we came back to camp, is just creating big plays and not having to run trick plays to get big plays. So I'm anxious to see if our kids answer the challenge.
Khalif had a rough game up against UConn, but up against Delaware State, he had that nice punt return for a touchdown. Do you pull a player aside after a game like that he had up against UConn and just try to boost his confidence a little bit? Because he's still a young player, and he should have a big career at Temple.
Not with Khalif, no. I don't think we have to boost. He knows he's got a chance to be a really special player. And the plays that happened to him at UConn could have been avoided. Those are plays that he makes every day. You can catch him with one hand. He just had a bad day, and he can't have a bad day. Luckily, that didn't cost us a chance to win the game. So we keep challenging Khalif, because with kids like that, guys that you feel they got a chance to be special, different program, different changers, different makers, changers. We're not going to coddle him, and he's a tough kid. He'll be all right. He'll answer. He's practiced very, very hard, made a bunch of tough plays during practice, especially in the open week when we had scrimmage against the defense. So I don't think that's going to affect him at all. That'll just be a memory in the past that he can make fun of himself about in a couple of years.
Coach, I was really impressed with the play calling in the second half of that UConn game, and because of the switch up in the play calling, I think PJ looked a lot more comfortable than he had in the previous 3 games. What kind of changes and adjustments did you make at halftime? Because from the second half on, that offense was moving up and down the field.
Yeah, we just really to start the half, it wasn't much different. I think we just converted a third down, checked the ball down, made a play, led us into a first down call midfield. Was able to get PJ moving on the perimeter. He threw a ball. Jalen caught a ball, and those kids relaxed. And once they relaxed, they felt like they were invincible and played with great tempo and were making plays up and down the field. And it looked like a different team. To go 31 yards in the first half off of only getting 20 plays in the first half to, I think it was maybe 31 plays or 29 plays in the third quarter with 200 yards of offense in the third quarter. That was our challenge with him, is you can get 200 yards in one quarter. And imagine if you just, if you can play like that before, our life would be a lot easier.
Nate Hairston and Brandon Shipp are 2 really good athletes at the receiver position, but as early as spring camp, they were both working on the opposite side of the ball. They're very good athletes. Hairston and Shipp have really good speed, but they've struggled to get it going consistently, which is expected because they were practicing on the opposite side of the football. What do you think of their development so far?
Getting better. The consistency, that's a word that we use in our program as far as, there's 3 words that you'll hear us talk about: the brand of our football team, the process that it takes to win a game during game week, and then in order to be good at anything, whether it's a practice, a drill, anything, you've got to be consistent. And I think those 2 have got to continue to consistently bring it every day, whether it's catching the ball, running routes, watching film, practicing with great effort. All those things have to be every single day. And which would transfer over to being a complete player and a good, solid football player. I think in the last 3 weeks they both have. I think that Nate has dropped some balls, and he's on the jugs every day. He's the jugs machine that throws the balls out, automatically to him every day. And he's working on catching the ball. And Shipp is working on his route running and not drifting in and out of cuts and getting his steps. So I think that they put the time and effort into growing as receivers, but they just need to keep playing and getting in games and feeling what that getting the feeling of their bodies and the tension of their bodies that it takes to catch a ball in the game and the run routes in the game and to get open. So we're very excited about him. I think Shipp's had a really good week this past week, caught some touchdowns in the last 2 days that were very impressive. So both of those guys have got a chance to help us.
You're exactly right, because every time you hear Coach Matt Rule, you just hear him say, trust the process. It's very Belichickian-like, and you walk around the football facility and you see tweets about how Nate Hairston trusts the process and all that stuff. And last year, this was a football team that got into a lot of late games and they couldn't hold on to the lead. How much is it that you just think your players have really bought into the system this year? Because they just look, even walking around campus, they have an intensity, they have an swagger to the game right now.
Yeah, I think that they've seen, we were able to show them game tape before UConn of the UConn game last year, and it was embarrassing. It was hard to watch. It was hard to watch the coaches. It was hard to watch the players. It was, even when we were scoring touchdowns in the first half of this year, it was just ugly and nasty and bad body language and bad body demeanor and bad fundamentals, poor tackling and poor blocking, and everything was just awful looking. And we showed them tape, this year against Vanderbilt the first game, and the speed in which our defense was playing and hitting and tackling and swarming the football compared to that Connecticut game. And our offensive kids catching and carrying and throwing and blocking and making runs against Vandy. And our point of doing that was just, guys, you all trust the process. You are protecting your brand, and that's all we talk about. And when kids aren't worried about Tulsa, they're not worried about Connecticut, they're not worried about Navy or Vanderbilt or Delaware State or Houston, and all they're worried about is themselves, the team, the process, protecting the brand. And they don't, usually the consistency throughout a game is there because they don't, they're not worried about, oh my gosh, 2 minutes left, we can hold on, we're not going to win. We can win. We're not, don't mess up. They don't think of that stuff. They just think about the daily grind and the process that it takes to win a football game. And they bought into it. They see what it can do for them individually and as a team. And I think that hopefully is the swagger you're talking about, to where they've got confidence that even if they play like garbage for a whole half and get 31 yards offense for the first time since we've been here, we went into halftime, didn't do anything special, came back out, maybe called 2 or 3 different plays, but they just relax, make a couple adjustments mentally, and execute and put the game away, which was good, a good sign.
Coach, last one for me. Statistically, the defensive unit is one of the better defensive units in all of college football, especially when it comes to the turnover department. And when I went to training camp, I really saw a defense that was flying around the field, and the offense has struggled at times. But how has the level of the play of the defense helped elevate the play of your offense?
I think it's huge. I think just from a ball security standpoint, they're always trying to rip at the balls, from protecting the ball as a passer. I mean, the angles they're taking now and interceptions and driving on the football and the way that they're tackling and getting everybody to the ball, it's impressive. I said that in the spring. It was a total different looking defense than you saw during the season last year. And I think that they've always bought into Coach Snow, but they buy into every single thing that he says. They do every single thing, and over time, if people don't panic and people just, again, trust the process, trust the brand, good things will happen. But if you panic and you listen to all the noise of the bloggers and tweeters and Facebookers about telling you what you should and shouldn't do and who's good and who's not, you're probably going to self-destruct from within the program, not trust the process, not protect the brand, and you'll lose games. But if you just put your head down, shut up, trust the process, good things will happen.
Last one with Coach Satterfield. I've been bugging you about this for a while. He's joined us on the Temple University Football Coaches Show, powered by Peerless Boilers. When are we going to see Freddie Booth Lloyd run the football?
I don't know his eligibility status and stuff. He's here. He's on the team. I think he's got some stuff he's got to do to get out there and to be on the active roster. He's in a red shirt mode right now, but I don't mind it. If he can get us a yard and we need a yard, I'll run anyone. I'll run my wife if she wants to run.
Well, what's your wife's 40 time? Is she fast?
She was a cheerleader in high school, so she's and an athlete. I can't say that cheerleading is not athletic because it's very athletic. I'm sure that she could probably break the 5 anyway. She's at least good. She's mean enough and tough enough to get us a yard.
She's got to be a nimble athlete.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the time. Best of luck on homecoming, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
There's Coach Marcus Satterfield joining us on the Temple University Football Coaches Show, powered by Peerless Boilers. Peerless builds America's best boilers. Okay, what we'll do right now is we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back right after these short messages.